Hello everyone, I hope you're doing very well. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this crochet rose garden top. Okay, so for this top I'm using 4 different colours: cream, baby pink, green, and then like a raspberry red. And the cream I'm using specifically for the bra cups. The pink will be for the lower part of the top, and then the green will be for the straps. And then I'm also going to be doing red like around the edges. So for the cream yarn, this is a double knit chunky, and then all the rest are just regular double knit yarn. And I'm really sorry, I don't actually know where any of these are from because I threw the labels away. I really need to start saving the labels so I can actually show you. And then I'm using a 4mm hook for all of these colours, and then I'm using a 5mm hook for the bra cups. And you'll also need some scissors, and you might need a tapestry needle depending on whether you're going to weave in your ends as you go, or if you're going to do it all at the end. So to measure out what bra cup you're going to need, you're going to take your measuring tape and you're going to flip it so that your first number is going to be at the bottom of your boob. So you're going to place your measuring tape here, and then you're just going to measure all the way up to the top of your nipple, and then that is going to be the starting amount of chains that you're going to need. So I will measure mine and then I'll let you know how many chains I'm going to do. So I just thought I'd explain exactly how the bra cup is going to look. So we're going to be making a set of chains that for me will go left to right. If you're right-handed, it will go from right to left, and your straight edge is going to be on this side and your pointed edge is going to be on this side. If you're right-handed, it's going to be the other way around. A normal bra cup would sit obviously vertically like this. So this would be the top and this is your bottom that goes along the under part of your bust. But the design that I'm doing today, I'm going to turn it on its side. So our increases are going to be on the right hand side. If you're right-handed, they're going to be on the left, but you should have one straight edge on one side and a point on the other side. So for me, my measurement was 4 inches long, so I'm going to make a chain that equals 4 inches long. If you had a different measurement, if you had say 6 inches long, then you're going to make a chain that equals 6 inches long. So 4 inches long for me was about 14 chains. So I'm going to stick with 14 chains, and then you want to add an extra one for that turning chain. So to start the row, you're going to make a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And if you want to avoid having that weird kind of gap, sometimes when you make bra cups, you can get this kind of gap in the middle where these holes are, and if you want to avoid that, then you can just single crochet into these back bumps. So I will show you in closer detail. You can see here are your chains, and then here is your back bumps. So I'm going to be single crocheting into these back bumps. So here is the first back bump here. So I'm going to, this is technically the second chain from the hook, but it's the back bump of it. So I'm going to be single crocheting into that one, and then I'm going to be single crocheting into each back bump across the row. So I now have 14 single crochets into each of those back bumps. So like I said, everything on my right side, if you're right-handed, it will be on your left side, is going to be the increases, and your other side is going to be just a straight edge. So I'm going to make my first increase, and you just do that by making 2 more single crochets into that last back bump. Like that. I'm then going to make 1 single crochet into each stitch on the opposite side of the row, and I'm also going to weave in this end here as I'm going along. So I've just done my last one. So now we're going to basically just turn the work and work along the other side. So we're basically working in like a semicircle. So we're going round and then back round and round and then back round, and it's basically building rows like that. Every time you reach the top stitch here, so it's like this middle one here at the top, this one, you do 3 single crochets in that stitch rather than just 1. So we've reached the end of the row. I'm going to turn the work. I'm not chaining 1 or anything like that, I'm just turning the work, and I'm just making a single crochet in that exact same stitch that we just made a single crochet into, and that is the start of the next row. So I'm just going to make 1 single crochet all the way up. Once I reach that top middle one, I'm going to make 3, 1 single crochet down the rest, and then you just repeat that as many times as you need to until your bra cup is at your kind of desired thickness. And if you want more coverage, then you're going to want to do more rows. Less coverage, less rows. So I will let you know how many rows I end up doing. Okay, so now I've finished my 2 cups. I'm now going to join them together with my new colour, which is pink. So I'm going to make a slip knot, and with my 5mm hook I'm going to attach the slip knot into this corner of this one. So I'm going to basically be flipping these around because I work from left to right, and I'm going to be working downwards, so I need to turn these around the other way, and it will be the opposite for you if you're right-handed. So I'm going to attach my new colour in this side loop here, because when you attach it here it kind of moves over here a bit, so you want it right on that edge. So I'm going to attach my new colour in this side loop here. So I'm going to make a slip knot and pull that new colour through that loop and chain 1, and then I'm just going to single crochet into that next stitch. So I'm going to make a single crochet into each stitch, and I'm going to stop once I reach the 16th stitch. So this is the first one. I'm going to stop at number 16, and I'm also weaving in both ends as I'm going along. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've just done my 16 single crochets, and I'm laying it back now as it normally would be, and I'm going to measure a distance of 1 inch between the top increase stitches. I'm going to leave 1 inch gap between them, and then I'm also going to measure the distance between this 16th stitch and this 16th stitch. I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it's this one there. I'm just going to put my hook here so I can mark it. So the distance between these 2 stitches is about 4 inches. So I'm going to make a chain that equates to the 4 inches. Okay, so I think I'll do 16 chains, and that should roughly be about 4 inches. Just measure that. Yep, that looks good to me. So I'm then going to join onto the 16th stitch. So I've just marked it out here so you can see. So I'm just going to do a single crochet into that 16th stitch, and make sure that your chains are not twisted. Take that hook out now. So that's what that should be looking like, and then I'm just going to single crochet until I get to that side stitch of this side. So I actually just slip stitched into that side stitch. Okay, so this is what you should have. If you'd like to adjust this and make more or less chains, just based on what your body is comfortable with, then adjust accordingly. Okay, so I'm now going to switch to my 4mm hook for the rest of the front panel of this top. So I'm going to chain 3 and turn the work, and this is going to be the start of our row, and I'm going to be working double crochets all along the row. So I'm just going to ignore this tail for the minute because I'm going to weave that in later, but I'm just going to make a double crochet into that second stitch there, and then 1 into each stitch across. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you've done your 16 double crochets. I'm now going to show you how you can do the double crochets across the chain. So across the chain, I'm going to be working in the exact same way, a double crochet, but I'm going to kind of turn the chain on its side so that I'm also going into the back loop of the chain. So you'll kind of pick up 2 loops on the hook like this. I'm going to do the double crochet that way, and that way you don't get any weird gaps when you have done the double crochet. So I'm going to repeat that again. It's in the first loop here. You kind of have to turn it on its side to grab both loops. Can you see there it's grabbing 2 loops there? Okay, so I'm just going to make a double crochet into each chain, and then I will meet you again when I have reached the end of the row. Okay, so for the second row we're now going to be doing a row of a half double crochet mesh stitch. So I'm going to start by chaining 1, turning the work, and you're going to make 1 half double crochet into that first stitch just below it, right there. You're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch and make a half double crochet into the next stitch. Repeat this, chain 1, skip the next stitch, half double crochet into the next. Chain 1, skip, half double crochet into the next. And you're going to repeat this across the row until you get to the end. So I'm at the end of the row, and for the last stitch, as you can see, there is a double crochet and then there is the chain 3. So I'm just going to make a chain 1 and go straight into that chain, the top of chain 3 for the half double crochet. So now I'm just going to repeat row 1 and then row 2 until I get the length that I want. Okay, so I've just finished my last row. I ended up doing 19 rows in total, and I ended on a double crochet row. So I'm just going to fasten off now. So chain 1 and cut the yarn like that. So I'm now going to make a border around the entire perimeter of this top. Okay, so somehow I've lost the footage of when I did the border of this top, but basically I just did a single crochet around the perimeter of the top in the berry red colour. Once I reach the corner of the bottom of this top, I'm going to add 2 single crochet into that side chain there. So in this side sort of chain, I'm going to add 2 single crochet, because then you get a nice squared off corner. Okay, so I've just reached the end of my single crochet, and I'm just going to chain 2 and fasten off. Okay, so this is what it's looking like now that you've done the border. We're now going to work on the side pieces. and I'm going to be using my chunky yarn for this because I want some structure to the side of the top, and especially when you're adding like corset ties, sometimes using thinner yarn to weave the corset kind of ties in can really stretch the yarn when you put it, so I want something nice and strong. So I'm going to use the chunky yarn. If you're using the same amount of yarn, same weight yarn that you did for the border, then carry on and don't skip any stitches. But if you're using a chunky yarn, you need to skip your stitches, otherwise you're going to have too many stitches in one area with thicker yarn, and that's going to make your side pieces wavy. So I'm going to take my 5mm hook, and I've got a slip knot with my chunky yarn, and I'm going to insert the hook into that bottom left corner. I work from left to right, so it'll be the opposite for you if you're right-handed. I'm just going to attach it and chain 1, and I'm going to be skipping a stitch every single crochet. So I've got my chain 1, I'm going to skip the next stitch, and I'm going to single crochet into the next, and I'm just going to repeat that. I'm going to skip the next one and single crochet into the next, also weaving in this end as I go. Skip and single crochet, skip and single crochet. I'm going to continue this all the way to the top, and I'm going to stop once I reach this corner stitch right there. So here is how the first row is looking. I did end up doing another single crochet in that top stitch because there was no space for me to skip a stitch, so I just have done 2 at the top, but that's fine. So I'm now going to work on the next row. I'm going to chain 1, single crochet into the first, chain 1, skip a stitch and single crochet into the next, and then repeat that. Chain 1, skip the next stitch and single crochet into the next, chain 1, skip and single crochet into the next, chain 1, skip and single crochet into the next, chain 1, skip and single crochet into the next. I'm going to repeat this until I reach the end of the row. And once you reach your last bit, you'll have a single crochet, and then you'll have that first chain. So I'm just going to single crochet into that chain. Okay, and that is your second row all done. Chain 1, and you're going to single crochet now into these chain spaces. Chain 1, skip the single crochet and single crochet into the chain space. Chain 1, skip the stitch and single crochet into the chain space. You'll now be repeating this as many times as you need to. So I ended up doing 6 rows of the single crochet mesh stitch, and then I did 7 rows including the first row of that single crochet. I'm going to repeat this now on the other side of the top, and then I will come back and I will show you the next step. So this is what the top should be looking like now. I'm now going to add some ties into the middle so that we can just get a visual for how it's going to look when it's cinched in here. So I'm just going to take my berry yarn. You can do whatever colour you want, but I just want it to match with the front. So I'm going to take the berry yarn and my 4mm hook, and I'm going to make a slip knot. And then I'm going to make a chain of 70. Once you have your chain of 70, you're just going to cut the yarn, and then you will have your ribbon. And I'm just going to feed the ribbon through and to just mark it with my hook. And then bring that ribbon through. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie it into a bow. And then you can just cut the bottom to make it a bit neater. So I just thought I'd explain how the ties are going to work, so the shoulder straps and the straps across the back. So we're basically going to be making 2 lots of chains, and each chain will be for each shoulder strap. So each shoulder strap is going to be very long, because we want it to not only cross over the shoulder, but we're going to want it to cross over the back as well. So you're going to want to sit the top against your body, and then where the last stitch of the red, so you have your white panel here, and then you have this one stitch right here, that's where your strap is going to go. So I'm just going to sit this against my body, and you're going to want to measure from this strap where it sits, measure around your shoulder until it sits comfortably, and then you're going to place your the other part of your strap to this section here. So here I'm just measuring around my shoulder, so from where the top corner of the top is, round the shoulder and round the arm, just so that it fits comfortably, and this was about 17.5 inches long. And here I am just making a chain for each shoulder strap. We're going to need to do 2 separate chains, and I found that 210 chains worked pretty perfectly for me. So if you're a bit smaller than I am, then this probably will work for you as well. Maybe you might need a few less chains. If you're a bigger size than me, then you may need more chains than this, so just adjust it accordingly. So once you have all your chains, we're now going to attach the chains to the top. So I'm going to start on this corner here. So I'm just going to grab the chain on the hook, ready, and then I'm going to insert the hook into this red space right here in between either panel, so here. I'm going to make a single crochet, and then I'm also going to make a slip stitch. We're going to work into the back bumps of each chain. So I'm now just going to repeat these steps on the other side. So I'm going to make a chain and then I'm going to slip stitch into each chain, into the back loop of each chain, and then I'm going to fasten off, and then I'm just going to weave in from the top here down into the middle here, and then across into the last quarter here, and then back across into this bottom loop, and then I will come back and give you kind of the final look of everything. So this is what it should be looking like when you've weaved in both of your straps, and as you can see, these are the armholes, and then they just crisscross over. So now I'm just going to weave all these ends in with a hook. You can also use a embroidery needle if you need to. I'm just going to use a hook and weave them into a few areas. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up, and if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to make next, feel free to leave those in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!